Hey friends, Catherine here. I've heard from students who are in the mobile and online qual course that basically everybody in this course is planning on taking it on demand and not attending the real-time sessions. So I'm not going to hold the real-time sessions. We've got the recordings posted for you. So definitely check out the recorded lectures and participate in the assignments. Message me if you have questions, and I'll also stay in touch with the class using the messaging through the training portal. But I do want to address one hot topic because I know talking to several students recently that while you might be having a hard time attending live sessions, I know a lot of you have children at home doing e-learning, or you may actually be having Wi-Fi issues. We had one student in a class last week. She was really having trouble attending the live session because her Wi-Fi at home is really bad and it was very jittery. So I really appreciate that some folks are having a hard time with the live sessions, but I want to make sure you guys know I'm available. The other instructors are available. So even if you can't attend online, please do stay in touch with us. Let us know if you have questions and just, keep up with the homework assignments, and we'll continue to give you feedback. So one thing I do want to address though is that I know I've heard from a number of students who have told me that they are doing more online qual than ever before. But what has been interesting in these conversations is a lot of students have taken the methodology they used to do and have just converted it to the online version. So we have a bunch of students who maybe they were doing a lot of traditional focus groups, in a focus group facility, and now they're doing online focus groups. That's great. Or we have some students who have previously done a lot of in-person interviews. So they were doing interviews at, either at homes or in the form of sort of shop along kind of variations. Or we actually had one student who was doing in-depth interviews at focus group facilities. So, and now they're doing online versions. And so as you're going online, certainly that's one option, but I just want to point out that there are a lot of options for online qualitative research. And so you may, for example, if you want to do in-depth interviews these days, obviously you can be doing telephone in-depth interviews, you can be doing webcam in-depth interviews. And there are also different platforms that are available to help facilitate more interactivity. So, for example, I'm hearing from a lot of folks who are saying, oh, I used to do a lot of telephone in-depth interviews. Now I'm going to be doing my in-depth interviews on Zoom. Maybe that's fine. Doing in-depth interviews on Zoom certainly has its advantages. Your Zoom count is probably already paid for. Your participants may already know how to use Zoom, so it may be comfortable for them and so forth. I do want to point out, though, that some of the qualitative research platforms do build in extra bells and whistles so that it can be easier for you to do things like share a whiteboard or share something you might want people to mark up during that interview. So you're not just doing the webcam conversation, but you're also sharing an image and allowing them to mark it up. Or some of the tools also even build in other types of interactivity. So you can have more projective exercises as part of the platform. So be sure to watch the whole guest lecture because you'll see mentions, all all four of the lectures for this course, because you'll see mentions and screenshots from some different platforms, so that instead of just defaulting to Zoom, you might say, you know what, maybe I do want to consider using some of these qualitative research platforms that are really optimized for the kind of interactivity that I want. If it's just a simple Q&A kind of interview, fine, maybe using Zoom or Google Hangouts is fine. But again, if you want to do something where it's a little bit more interactive, where you're using different kinds of visual stimuli, where you want them to kind of be interacting by using markup or being able to select images, then you might want to consider some of the other options that are out there. Similarly, talking to folks who've in the past done traditional focus groups, their inclination is, okay, now I'm going to do online focus groups. And that's great. Maybe that's going to be fine to go from traditional focus groups to online focus groups. But what I would say is you might want to just hit pause for a second and just make sure that that is the right option. For example, in the part 1 lecture for this course, we talk about mobile ethnography. And mobile ethnography applications, these are applications from organizations like D-Scout and DEMO and Over the Shoulder and other ones we mentioned in the full lecture. They give you certain options that you're not going to get with a online focus group in terms of the way that you can interact with your participants. And for some of you, you might actually find that it's easier to recruit people to a mobile ethnography type of application as opposed to recruiting people to an online focus group. So I know there can be a temptation to say, oh, I'm doing traditional focus groups, now I'm doing online focus groups. But if you're going to switch to online focus groups anyway, I would encourage you to look at some of the applications for mobile ethnography. Certainly check out the guest lecture for part 1, because you may find that some of the features and functions that these apps have built into them will actually meet your objectives better than a quote traditional online focus group. So again, I just want to encourage people. I know that changing from traditional methods to online methods is new for some folks, or maybe you've done a little bit of online qual before, but now you're entirely online qual for obvious reasons. I just want to say, let's use this as an opportunity to rethink what all of your options are for qualitative research, because you may find that rather than just sort of defaulting to the closest neighbor, that there might be a better option. So in the course that you're enrolled in for this, that you're going to be active in part 1, you'll get that deep dive into mobile ethnography that and actual examples, so that you can really see what it's like as both a researcher and as a participant. And in the rest of this course, of course, over all 4 parts, in addition to mobile ethnography, we're going to do some social media listening work. We're going to do some work with online focus groups, and we're going to look at some of the sort of newer methods that may, present some opportunities for you that you haven't considered before. So again, please don't be shy. If you have questions, message me. And again, I know it's a hard time for folks attending live sessions, so I appreciate why folks are choosing to do this course on demand. Totally cool, but I don't want you to miss out on any support that you may need, even if you can't make it to the live lectures, right? So if you have any questions, do let me know, and do also be sure to check out the assignments. The assignments are really designed to give you a chance to try some things and learn more about them. Thanks, everybody, and hope all is well.